So let's get a start. Those have just joined, we just did a couple of polls to just gauge who is in the audience. Top right-hand corner for any questions. Feel free to ask them along the way. I'll try and answer them as I go. I've got what we'll be doing. Let's get into this. What we'll be doing. Firstly, who am I? My name's Mark. I'm the business development manager here at eSkilled. I've been doing this for a good year now on these webinars, and have some experience in different organizations. I mainly sell our student and learning management systems, but I also dabble in this AI course creator tool as well. So what we'll be talking about today, what is AI course creator? How does it work? We'll do a practical demo and create a course, and we'll use our new AI image gen engine, the Nano Banana tool. We'll also show you how to edit using AI and, with a lot of different things, how to share the course with your LMS system, and also some themes. And also, last thing is pricing. So we'll talk about how much it costs. So what is AI course creator? It's essentially an incredible AI-powered e-learning authoring tool that will create courses a lot faster than you've ever done before. It's efficient and engaging. It's easy in terms of converting documents into an e-learning file. It's a very user-friendly interface. We'll have AI-assisted editing as well, rich media and interactive learning, and we integrate with just about any LMS. Any LMS that has SCORM functionality or LTI compatibility. I'll explain those terms later. LMS is learning management system. So what this tool is going to do is create you an e-learning course, right? That course can be used in an LMS so that you can, you know, see what students have done, so on and so forth. So how does it work and how are we different? So eSkilled has been around, since 2020, but we've created, before that, we were in a um, precision learning resources, compliant learning resources. We know about resources, and we have an instructional design team that have built our resources over the last 10 to 15 years, right? So we used our instructional design team to train our AI. We used the tell, show, do methodology. So provide the information, practical example, case study or scenario, and then a formative quiz. Right? And I'll talk to you about that a bit later. Speeds up design with beautiful themes. We structure the course with images and flip cards built into the overall design, and we publish into an interactive SCORM output. So yeah, that's who we are. Let's have a look at this system. So firstly, you come into your own portal, right? Your own version of our portal. You're not just logging directly into our portal. You're using your own version. That's your own little subdomain into our system, if you know the word subdomain. You log in and you can create courses. Up the top here, you'll notice that there's a courses page, themes, categories, administrations, where you can sort of see pricing, activity logs, and then of course there's tutorials. Also on the right-hand side over here, we have a little notification. That's where we notify you of any improvements to the product. And obviously languages. We now have, we've got a whole lot here, but we're about to release, we've released it, Mandarin Chinese. We've released now recently. So that's the application language. Just know you can create courses in about 96 different languages, but this is the application language. Hopefully that makes sense to all. All right, so when we want to create a course, we click this create course button. I've actually done all the work, so you don't have to see me typing out to prompting an AI. So I've sort of created all the prompts prior. Now, I thought I would do an accredited unit from training.gov in Australia. Just understand though, for those who aren't doing accredited courses in Australia or or might be want to do both accredited and non-accredited, you do not have to use a unit of competency. It's just a good example to show, but just know you can use general language and attachments that don't include units as well. It can be courses from overseas, it can be university courses, it can be any number of things, right? So just get that point. So firstly, step one is, course name, obviously, obvious. Describe your course audience. So who are you delivering this training to? In this scenario, I've put workers who have started their Cert 3 in childcare in Brisbane and who work in an early learning centre, right? So I'm really contextualizing. You'll notice this unit that I've used is actually available in about I think it's 30 different qualifications, right? From different industries, from business through to childcare, through to lots of different industries. So yeah, we're going to use those. So I'm contextualizing into the early learning space, right? Ooh. Describe your course in detail. So again, I've put the unit code in and the course. Course, and then I put a note as part of a Cert 3 in early childhood education and care. And I'm using a course creation type of creative for this example. Just know that if you have a learner guide that you like the text of and you just want to convert that into an e-learning file, you can do that using the document conversion function. I would still prompt it if you use the document conversion function anyway, just because of the fact that you might want to edit it with AI later, right? I've got a question here. Chris, do you need to be partnered with an RTO to say the course, the course on platform is a CHE Div 1, or can you just offer this course without accreditation as a micro credential? That is a good question. That's a very big question in terms of what you can and can't deliver. You wouldn't be able to deliver it with a certificate with a nationally accredited certificate, but I've had people deliver units non-accredited before. So yeah, you can deliver it non-accredited. Just know this is a accredited unit of competency. You might not even have to type in a unit code. You can just type in work with diverse people and maybe make a course related to that. That way it's less sort of tied to the unit delivery. And of course, non-accredited means that, you don't have to meet the mapped guidelines of that unit, whereas accredited you sort of do. So just knowing that's there. Yeah, again, just type in general language. Maybe don't even put a unit code if you don't want to, if you don't want to do an accredited course. Okay. Now you'll notice here, I've got an option to attach files. Now there's so many options here. I've already attached the unit from training.gov. That's something to note here. You can just go unit of competency and upload the PDF version of the unit there. But you've got options to add in curriculum documents, learner resources, staff handbooks. So let's say I've got a client that wanted to deliver a clustered version, and it's not like a full clustered course, but maybe a couple of units together in a cluster. So what they've done is they've got an AI tool to create them a curriculum, right, for a clustered unit with 2 units of competency, right? And then they've uploaded that as a document so that they can create a course for more than 1 unit. So yeah, lots of ways you can do this. I've even got talking about learner resources. I've got a client who actually you would know them, Surf Lifesaving Australia. They use this system to create their courses using PowerPoints. So they've uploaded a PowerPoint document, and they it fleshes out the content for their course. So it's still in creative mode, creating the text, but it's fleshing out the course itself. But yeah, lots of options there. Now, I've already added the unit of competency you can see there. All right. You can get up to 500,000 characters. The unit's only 8,664. So you've got lots of space there to add extra documents that you need to. Of course, the more documents, the more prompting you do, the more generation credits it uses. And I'll get into that a bit later. Step 2, Course depth and breadth is the first question there. How much text do you want, right? I've put standard here, but you can go comprehensive. That'll give you a lot of text if you do want to. Reading level, I've also put standard here, but just know you can go by reading age. This is not normal age, this is reading age. So if you have adults that you're working with, you've got to understand that adults may use may have a lower reading level than their age. So just take that into consideration. Language, there's 96 different languages to choose from here. So even languages outside the application, you'll be able to deliver to. Tone of voice, I put professional here, but you got casual, dramatic, encouraging. Tone of voice doesn't mean voice of a voice to text. It means voice as in language, tone of language, essentially. We have another question from Craig Spencer. For unit of competency for a particular qualification, how will my training material be different from another provider? How do I make it more associated with my emphasis on training, not generic? That is a very good question, Craig. Yeah, so you can contextualize. So you just prompt it to your contextualization or what you're trying to deliver to. So it's less generic. You'll notice that in this scenario here, I've prompted it with Early Learning Center. This unit is also delivered as part of a diploma of business. So, you know, or maybe not diploma, a business course as well. So you'll you'll know that there are different levels of context here. So you can actually prompt it to meet those unit guidelines of what you're trying to achieve, Craig. All right, and we've got more extra prompting here. Okay, so someone asks, "Sir, are these courses copyright free?" Yeah. So you remember, AI generates text, right? So if you've used a document conversion and that's a copyrighted document, obviously that is a copyrighted document. But if you're using creative mode, the AI is generating text. It's not. It's not copyrightable text, if that makes sense. You may want to add, quotes and things to it. I would definitely read the context and make sure that there isn't any referencing that you can do. But essentially, this is an AI generated bit of content, right? When I use creative mode. Course depth and breadth is how much text, reading level, standard language, tone of voice, country context. That's the next thing. So language isn't the only thing. We've done English UK, but with the country is Australia in this scenario. Of course, you can choose whichever country you want, and it will build the content to that country's context. That's really important. But not only that, we can go below that and go down to a state level, regional level. As well. So you can actually relate case studies back to, I'm using Brisbane, Australia as a context, right? That's the city that I'm referring to. All case studies focus on kindergarten within a childcare facility in Brisbane. So that gives you an idea. That's how detailed I'm going with this context. You can actually add lots of information in here, legislation, legal regulatory context, socio-economic, really whatever sort of context you want for the practical examples, case studies, scenarios, and sort of how you want to tailor the text. So you'll notice I keep backing up childcare facility. It's a really good idea to when you're prompting to just keep backing up what you're saying in each prompt. Okay, next step is course settings. Category is how you can search for a course within the course list, which I'll show you in a bit. But yeah, essentially, it's sort of like a folder structure if you've used those before. But it's new technology on that. You categorize and search rather than just find a folder. Topic navigation, this gives you a free or linear navigation. If we talk about linear, that means you have to progress in a certain order, right? I have to do the first topic before it'll let me do the second topic, so on and so forth. Free will just let you select any of the topics and go from there. So I'm going to do free for this one. But yeah, generally you probably want it to be linear. We're going to include images. What this is going to do is generate images using AI into the tool. So there's going to be images that reference, there's going to be diagrams. It's going to generate all of that for you. Right? Obviously, learning objectives is just sort of like a title page that shows you everything you're discussing. And if we include case studies, it's going to give me case study scenarios there. And of course, the last thing is course theme. So we've actually built a bunch of themes in there for you, but you can actually put your own custom logos and themes in there, create your own theme, or you can use an existing theme and edit it. It's completely up to you. Craig's asked, give, can you ask if to give each time 2 or 3 examples of the same type, A, B, and C? So all the way through, students will have an example relevant to their particular emphasis, A, B, or C. Sorry. You could just type it in, maybe give that a shot, Craig. I'm not, maybe clarification on that question. I'm trying to understand what you mean by examples. There are scenarios in there and case studies. So that may be what you're referring to with regards to examples, but type A, B, and C, so all the way students will have an example relevant to the particular emphasis. I would create 3 separate programs if you're, just to ask, 3 separate contexts. If there are 3 types or ways to do this, I would create 3 different courses. And you can duplicate a course and then regenerate based on context. So yeah, you can absolutely do that. How can we get the link to create one? Oh yes, we'll after this submarine, we will send through a link so you can get a trial. There's a 14-day free trial, so you'll be able to use that as well. At the end of this session, there'll be a QR code, so you can do that, or you'll get sent when you get sent the recording, there'll be a trial link there as well. All right, so we're heading next. So I've done this playful theme. I think it's a pretty nice looking theme. There are a lot of different examples of themes, and hopefully this is fully developed the right way. Anyway, I'll hit next. The last option is quiz settings. Now, just understand, this is a formative quiz only. It's not going to do your summative quiz. It's not going to do your knowledge questions. It's not going to do any practical examples. This is really just creating you an e-learning file to generate content, practical example, case study or scenario, and a formative quiz, right? So you learn the content. You would still have to do your summative quizzes outside of this system, and or map your formative quizzes so that they're summative. But yeah, you can do all of that. But the idea is it's not going to give you a mapping file at the end of this, right? So I'm going to hit quick generate here. Now this takes about a minute or 2 to generate you a topic outline. And my ebot here, we've got lots of little icons of what this little ebot guy's doing. He's painting his masterpiece in this scenario. We'll see him cooking later, and we'll see him gardening in a bit as well. So there's lots of different little ebot gets to do little things. While we're waiting for that, I might just show you the courses page here. I was showing you category before, so you can filter by category. Of course, you can type in your own category and it will generate you a category if it's not in there already. But just so you know, that's how you search by category. You can also search by the person who created the course as well. You'll notice I've done a bunch of these here. I've got an example one actually. Firstly, before we do that, oh no, still going with the topic outline. Let me show you an example one I did. Now, just understand, I have not edited this. Actually, no, I did one edit on this to show this off at a conference last week. So that's all I've done is edited one of the images. That's it. Everything else is already pre-generated, and I haven't really touched it. All right. So when I hit start here, you'll notice that I've got my learning objectives, preparing to open a Beehive. These are all the topics and subtopics here. You'll notice it's generated these images. This is AI generated images, flip cards, all sorts. Notice it's even produced a document of like a step by step and a briefing flowchart document. Again, these images are AI generated, guys. So that's, yeah. PPE is personal protective. Yeah, cool. Get the point. Let's see how we're going. Oh, he's still going. There's a lot, maybe a lot of subtopics here because I've put it in childcare context. Oh, getting there. All right. You'll notice that what we did, if there's something that you're finding is a bit, you didn't want to see it, you can actually get AI to edit the images or text as well. There you go. Um, yeah. Now I've got this one. This is this one that I did. So just showing you in terms of. Oh, it's still going. Okay. Just showing you in terms of how you can do AI assisted editing here. So if I don't like a bit of text, or let's say I grab that one there, right? I can grab AI and prompt edit or summarize, bullet point, expand, right? Or I can even do text to speech, so it'll read it out for me. Let's do that just for this one, text to speech. Um, I've highlighted this bit of text. I want it to read it out for me. I'll use an Australian voice, but yeah, you'll note that there's lots of options in terms of language. Um, Even though you choose a different language, because it's reading English, what it'll do is read it with that accent. But yeah, you've got a lot of options here with different accents with English. I'm just go William here. I'm going to convert that. So he's gardening now. When you do any editing, you'll notice our ebot's gardening. Oh, yeah, we've got an outline. All right. So flicking back to our outline here, because I want to hit generate just because, just so we can show you what this course looks like. You'll notice that with images, we've got quite a lot of generation credits here. I think I've picked a very complex unit, obviously lots of subtopics. So it's going to require a lot of generation credits to produce this. So I'm going to hit go just so, oh, sorry, by the way, this is obviously you can also edit this. So I can move topics, subtopics around. I can type my own subtopics, add topics. It'll give me a lot of space to edit here. Right? I think this is a really good point. Take a good look at your subtopics and topics. Make sure it meets all these guidelines that you're wanting to adhere to before you hit generate, because obviously it's going to use some credits here. This one's using almost all the credits it would actually more than the credits it would use for the base package. So just letting you know in terms of how many credits it uses now. When I hit generate, it's going to take, this is going to be the thing that takes the time. I'm thinking this might take about 15 minutes to generate, maybe 20. So we'll let it go. While we're going, let's go back into this text to audio and we'll go into editing, right? So we want to read out this phase one here. So hopefully you guys can hear this. I did share audio, so fingers crossed.
Phase 1. Mythbuster.
And we
Safety
can
hazards
hear.
are just part of beekeeping. Before you crack a lid in far north Queensland, it is easy to think the risks are small because you have done it heaps of times. That belief can lead to rushed setups, missed checks.
Now you'll notice it does a really good job of pausing at the right moments. It's not as robotic as a lot of AI generated text voices out there. Some voices are more robotic than others, but you can play around with that and make sure you're happy with how the voice. Of course, if you don't want to do text to audio, you can also add in audio yourself. So if you want to read it out yourself and just add the audio file, you can do that too. There's also a document viewer. I can add videos in here. When I do that, you'll notice I'm going to add a video. Add a video at the bottom. I probably should have dragged it in so it's not at the bottom, but anyway. Well, maybe we'll get it up. Above the quiz. So you can see it's just literally drag and drop. It's that easy. Now, when I want to go out a video, I can link it to YouTube or Vimeo, browse my local libraries, or upload from the device. So if I want to embed a YouTube video, I link, just do that there. Didn't get one ready for this, but yeah, you get the point. You can add that in, and it would be an embedded video file. There's also interactive activities. Now, right now, it'll do your flip cards automatically. You can also add in when you've got flip cards in a course. You can also add in, like, you can convert it to an image if you want. So images on either side, text, image, image on text. So you can do that for flip cards. You can highlight, when you highlight bits of text, if I do, let's grab an image that's here. I want to get rid of that glove. I can actually use AI I can prompt it with AI to get rid of the glove. All right. So if I do that, let's go remove glove from, and it will actually regenerate that image and remove the glove. It's pretty good. Does a really good job. I haven't had any faux pas yet, but this is a live demo, so, and I'm also generating at the same time. So let's see how we go. So Chris has, see, glove's gone. Use image, beautiful. Now it's gone. And of course, you'll notice it actually even references the image in the text next to it. Okay, Chris has asked, when you add a video from an uploaded local device, will it transfer over to your LMS as an embedded file? No. So what it'll do is it'll be stored within the AI tool, right? And then it will depend on what file you export. If you export a SCORM file, the video will be embedded into the SCORM, into the zip file. If you use LTI, because it's actually being stored on this actual drive, it will link, because the whole thing is a link, if that makes sense. I'll explain that a little bit later. Hopefully that makes sense, Chris. We have another one. Nikki Miller. Are there any settings to slow the user down so they have to complete everything and not just click and skip through it all? Yes. So, like I said before, there's a linear. So, Nikki, before, remember I said free or linear navigation, right? So, if you do linear, it won't let you go skip. It'll make you do it in order. I'm just done free for the demo because you want to see the different things in it. See how it's going, by the way. Ooh, 5 of 35. Ooh, quite a lot. All right. One more question I was asked. Chris asks, if you input a SCORM file into your own LMS, can you edit the SCORM file natively, or do you just have to update in eSkilled? Oh, okay. If you export this file as a SCORM file in your LMS, you would be able to view the file in your LMS. You wouldn't be able to edit it. You need the actual source file to be able to edit it. So you would have to edit within this tool and then re-upload the SCORM. The other alternative to that is to instead of downloading it as a SCORM file, you can connect it by LTI, and then anything you update within the file will just automatically get updated in your LMS because it's actually linked rather than downloaded. Hopefully that answers that question. When we explain how to import it into your system, I think that'll make a little bit more sense than if that's not clear. All right. Now, the other thing I wanted to do is maybe add in a hotspot. So a hotspot is a really cool one you can do, where you can add an image and then have little hotspot icons. So if I want to add an image, you'll notice that we have an AI generated images. Of course, we have a really awesome AI generation engine, but we also have free image libraries as well. So if I just put the, actually, I think that's one word. Keeping. Oh, from one of these two stock libraries. These are context free or credit copyright free images. So you can just grab any image there. And then this one's got plus as the little icon for hotspots, but you can edit that. Now, in the theme, you'll be able to edit it as well. I'll show you themes in a bit. But let's say you want to have a few little hotspots in there. I can add a few. Notice. And then you can just edit those hotspots, add in, text and headings into that so that you've got a little hotspot. And if I hit save on that, if I go to preview this page, you'll notice how it works there. That's our hotspot. Great. There's a preview link here. Make sense? So yeah, pretty cool ways to edit and add in make it really engaging. Of course, there's step by steps. This actually won't be long until we have that also step by steps in the system. So currently the steps, the way that they work are step one, step two, and they're accordions. But in future, it'll automate step slides. So it'll be like, if I just chuck that in there. Ooh, it'll be like this, but it'll have steps either side. Actually, I'm not going to have time to show you them all, but it'll be columns rather than accordions. If that makes sense. There's also content banners, call to action buttons. All of this is themed: accordions, quiz. Now, if you don't like anything from a whole topic or subtopic, you can delete all the text within it, and then this little text assistant button will have an extra option to generate text. Right? You'll notice it already has an option for case study scenarios, images, text to speech. So AI will allow you to edit using that as well. Hopefully that makes sense there. How are we going? Ooh, 23. We're almost there. Hopefully by the end of this session, we'll be able to see it. The last thing I wanted to touch on is themes. So if you go to courses themes here, you'll see that we've already added a bunch of themes in here, but you can add or edit any of these themes. I'll just do that. Let's jump into, I won't do playful because we're actually using that right now and hopefully it won't. But let's do Atlas. It'll give us a bit more of an idea. So themes, you've got options in terms of the theme style. So there's 6 different styles here that you'll have. That basically covers the cover page and the end page. There's not a whole lot of options in terms of theme style or what it does, but it will actually make the front cover the way it is. We've got cover page here. Again, this is going to generate that cover page automatically using AI anyway, so you don't have to edit that in the theme, but you can later. You'll notice this is the way the background works for the front cover, and you can even change the color of the start button in terms of graduating it and text color and all of that. Completion page, obviously this is in, not right. but you'll want to add that. So you want to edit that one. There's banner image, so banner images, and then the text. So, and then you can even do icons. You'll notice that there's a bunch of different icons that are already pre-built in there. Course builder. So this will give you all the options in terms of how it looks in the theme. So font settings for all the different types of fonts, image settings, am I curving the image, opacity, all of that. Table settings, how does the table look? Emphases, text alignments, everything. Interactive activities. What does the hotspot, the generic hotspot look like? What's the icon? And I can actually edit the icon and use any number. There's default ones there, or you can browse or upload your own icons as well. I'm not going to save this. Also, flip cards. These are the images for flip cards. Step by steps. That's how they sort of look. And then last one is the preview. So that's like the top left-hand corner, this sort of stuff. So themes can be fully editable. Course headings, topics, yeah. So you've got lots of different options in terms of how it looks. Almost done. All right, now up the top here, you'll notice that there's course settings. So this goes back to the very start. Course settings are sort of like the prompting. So I could go back and edit the whole prompts. And when I do, it'll ask me, do I want to regenerate it? And you can. Edit topics. So if, let's say you come in here and you realize, I want to delete the case study and bring in one that's relating to a new context, you can do that using this. I could actually just go back to the course settings and just recontextualize the course, and it'll regenerate it with the new context, but with a lot of the same settings. Right? All of that's possible. A preview. Now, there's this preview button here that will open up in another tab. This page there, that link, will actually be a preview of that course. So I can actually copy that link and send it to someone if I want them to view the course. Okay, Angel asks, since the course creator generates course content, is it also advisable to use it for learning materials where the course context and assessments already exist in a document and only need to be delivered through the LMS? Yeah, so when I at the start, you'll notice that I said if you've got a learner guide, if you've got a course that you're happy with the text of, you can actually use that document and it'll document convert what you have there already into a SCORM file. So you don't even need the AI to prompt, it's using the AI to structure the course. So it'll be a different generation here instead of what we've done here. It will convert the text, convert it instead. Okay, so hopefully that answers that question, Angel. Use document conversion at the start in step 1. Yeah, and then there's download SCORM. Now, you'll only get this icon if you purchase the annual subscription, because we don't, with monthly, you can only connect via LTI. With annual, you can then download the SCORM file if you choose, right? If I go to download the file, there's options. So SCORM 1.2 works really well with Moodle and our LMS, right? SCORM 2004 4th edition will work with a lot of other providers. In terms of, depends on which provider and what sort of SCORM format they need, but essentially, for instance, Accelerate will need in symbol sequencing and SCORM 2004 4th edition. We use 1.2 for our ones. We find it's a better quality output. So for Moodle, you'll use 1.2 generally. And then, of course, save. You've got all the rest of it there. So that is showing you enough there. How are we going? Oh, final ingredients. Almost done. Almost done. All right, let's go into pricing while we're waiting. We're almost done with that anyway. So in terms of cost, you'll notice there's monthly and annual. Now, again, one big difference between monthly and annual is the SCORM. You get the SCORM file downloads, right, with the annual. If you go monthly, you won't get that. You'll have to connect your system via LTI. Sorry, Craig asks, can you load existing unit of competency, convert, and then have it review the material and suggest improvements? So, Craig, no, it won't do that. It will be able to generate you something from something you've got already. So if you've got an existing course or existing unit of competency, you actually don't like the text and you want it to regenerate it, you can use it as a document and it will use sort of the structure of that course to regenerate it. But it's not going, you won't be able to get it, use an existing unit that you have, and it won't do things like review material, suggest improvements, that sort of thing. That's not what this is designed for. This is designed to generate you a course or convert a learner guide into a course. All right. So hopefully that answers that question. So if I go annual here, you'll notice that you've got starter and then maximize. Most people step up to maximize just because it's not that much more, especially if you go yearly. It's like less than $600 more for the whole year. And you get you get almost double everything else, or a bit more than double in terms of courses and storage. All right. Now, if you're going to be uploading videos, I would probably go with a higher tier. You can add extra storage. You can add extra credits, right? If I go down the bottom here, this is what each package comes with. This is how much to purchase extra credits on top that won't expire. These credits are monthly credits. So you generate a course, you'll notice that I use slightly more than the starter package on one course that we just produced. Of course, that's quite a large course, so that gives you an idea on how many generations it uses. So you might want to step up to maximize as a base package. Just know that you can always purchase more. If everything else is right and you just need to add more generation credits, you can just purchase them individually. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense. Let's see. Oh, we're ready to go. All right, give it a second to load our course. Beautiful. So that's this course already done. And you'll notice that if I just go back to cover and I'll preview this one as it stands, this is with no edits, of course. You've just seen me generate it. So it's with no edits. You might want to come in and edit. Obviously, we're learning how to do childcare, so maybe adults in a kid's space, that makes sense. But maybe I would regenerate that one with some kids in it, I would say. Expect your own perspective. You'll notice all of this, bias assumptions, scenarios. Even flowchart diagrams, spotlight diagram, this one is. But yeah, really interesting solutions. Yeah, that's just by default. That's what it generates. And so, as you can see, it's a really structured course with quiz. Any questions on that? Can you see that? Ballpark, how many credits per unit of competency to roughly calculate the number of credits required? It will depend on images. I would say that the base package really gives you that one course. So you'll notice, so 1,750,000 is probably a good guess on most courses. Maybe a little bit less or a little bit more, depending on the size of the course. You saw we generated this course, this working with diverse people course. We generated that. Hold on, let's have a look. Working with diverse people. You can see how many credit generation credits used. So we've got prompt tokens of 480,000, completion tokens of 1831258. So This one's quite a lot more. 2,312,000 generation credits. The images mean that, and you'll notice that there was two options there. I could have picked like 750,000 for without images, but this one I've produced with images, so it's gone to that 2 million mark. So that gives you an idea around about. Hopefully that answers that question. Say with a Cert 2 4 units. Oh, Craig, this is how long is a piece of string? I would get you to generate a couple yourself using the trial and see what it comes up with. I think you'll find Cert 2 level might be a little bit less generations than what I've just showed. So maybe in the 1.7 million generation credits. If you do non-accredited, it actually uses a lot less as well. But yeah, images and text audio will use a lot more credits. You'll even probably double it when you add text audio. Changes are actually quite low. Like when sorry, Chris has asked how many extra credits would it take to make changes. So it actually tells you when you go to make the changes. You'll notice I did one here. When I go to whenever I use AI to change, if I want to expand the text, it will give me extra. It's generally about 1,000 per paragraph on a guess. And then Craig asked, so the fee is for creation in a particular month? Yes. Just understand though that you can always purchase more credits if you need to. Right? If you need to purchase more credits, you can absolutely do that. So, and those credits will not expire. So that one there. Yeah, so that's obviously generating about 4 or 5 paragraphs, so it's about 5,000, I would say, to edit that. Hopefully that answered those questions. Anything else before we finish up? All right, last couple of things I wanted to show you. Up the top here, so if I want to connect via LTI, so most LMS systems will have some sort of LTI compatibility. It's like learning something interoperability. So it's actually bringing learning content between different systems. It's sort of like a window that also brings progression. So if I go to our LMS here, if I go to, hold on, I've got up. I go to our LMS and I want to add a SCORM file in. So if they downloaded it as a SCORM file, literally it's just as simple as going to edit mode, adding activity, and then I can add a SCORM. So SCORM package, and then literally I drag and drop the zip file into there and it'll create me a course. Now, if I'm connecting via LTI, it's a little bit different. I can go more here and go LTI external tools, and I can add my external tool in. When I do, I can then use that one, use that tool. It'll then become a tool within my options for adding an activity. I'll then have a little puzzle piece, that's LTI compatibility, and then I can choose my course from there. So I can save it. Yes, course, and then save. And then the first time I open this, it will automatically then choose the course from I'll get a choice of which course has become available. For instance, this one. And then that's the course that's then available for that student in the LMS directly. and you won't have to ever choose it again. You just choose it the first time you jump in. Second, and there's that course. But now when I go back in, you'll see that course is just sitting there as an external tool. Loading. Okay, there. And then it's built in. Any changes I make on the system will automatically feed into this system. All right. So that's how to connect it. Hopefully that's everything. Did I have any final questions before I go? Oh, yep. Monica's asked, can the course files generated be saved on a computer? Yes. So Monica, that's the SCORM. So a SCORM file is an e-learning file, which is it's like a zip file with all the e-learning content in it that you can then upload into any LMS. So yes, you can absolutely do that if you go onto the annual subscription. Amazing. So hopefully everyone has got a whole lot out of this session. Feel free to ask any questions later. You'll get an email. Feel free to reply to that email at any time. Also, oh, hold on. Let's go back into this. If you want to jump in and do the trial, I'll just share that with you now. So feel free to jump on that trial. I'll keep that open here for a couple more minutes. No worries, Veronica. I think I remember you from previous. Craig asks, so I create here and then take it to where I want to store it if I want to do that. Yes, is the answer to that. You can store it. So LTI would mean it stays on the portal and it's linked and it shows progression and everything. It's sort of like the ideal way to do it because then you don't have to keep updating the SCORM file. But yeah, either way, if you want to download it as a SCORM file, so it's just within your LMS, you can do that. It'll either way, it will work well, and it'll generate you a very high-end course. So, any last questions before we go? Right. Beautiful. All right. Oh, one more. Veronica asks, am I able to get a free trial at a later date? Yes. Anytime you jump into that link, you'll get a free trial. You'll also get a link sent to you via email in the next couple of hours. I think 3 hours is when they send it. So feel free to use that then at any later stage as well. Yeah, so feel free. No worries. Thanks, everybody. Um, Lovely to see so many people I recognize in their face. And yeah, I'll end that all here. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions later.